Good morning, everyone. It's January 3rd, 2020. I'm Eric. I'd like to thank C&K Associates for donating to my PayPal account. I really appreciate that. It does help tremendously. And if I were being honest, it does validate. I'm not usually a person that needs validation, but it is nice to be validated once in a while. Alright, so, the Super Bowl's biggest losers, the boys and girls being sold for sex 20 times a day. This is what you support by supporting the Super Bowl. You support the trafficking of children. Children are being targeted and sold for sex in America every single day. John Ryan, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Now, not only was it incredibly stupid to go to the Super Bowl during what seems to be a pandemic, incredibly stupid. And you're packed in there with all these people coughing, sneezing, screaming, all that fucking spit is flying out all over the place, and people are touching it, they're breathing it in, but, Super Bowl. But there can only be one winner of the game, right? The biggest losers were the children who were sold for sex during this celebration. Again, if you support the Super Bowl, you are indirectly supporting the buying and selling of children. Isn't that fucked up? I mean, really, it's fucked up. It's common to refer to this evil practice, which has become the fastest growing business in organized crime and the second most lucrative commodity traded illegally after drugs and guns. Why couldn't they just stick with the drugs and guns? Why? Why do they have to drag children into this? But what we're really talking about is rape. Adults purchase children for sex at least 2.5 million times a year, just in the United States. Isn't that nice? It's not just young girls who are vulnerable to these predators either. According to a U.S. Today investigation, boys make up about 36% of children caught up in the U.S. sex industry. About 60% are female, and less than 5% are transgender males and females. Every 2 minutes, a child is exploited in the sex industry. Yeah, every 2 minutes. So, people, we should be ashamed of ourselves for this happening in our country. But instead, people are ashamed that the idiot Democrats wanted to impeach Trump, right? They're more ashamed of that than, 100,000 children, girls and boys, are bought and sold for sex in the U.S. every year. 100,000. I really thought this should be covered before the next article. You really should think about what you're supporting and whom you're supporting, because the Super Bowl is one of them celebrations where people get super drunk, become super decadent, and do incredibly bad stuff to children. And by the way, domestic violence spikes at this time. This is an industry that revolves around cheap sex on the fly with young girls and women who are sold to 50 men each day for $25 a piece. $25 a piece. Certainly, our children are worth more than that. Certainly, our children deserve better than this. But, that's messed up. It's just messed up. Now, you want to see some irony? Here's some irony for you. Of course, my ad blocker blocks the videos, but Britain's airlifted from Wuhan ride to quarantine on 4 horsemen buses. Yeah. 4 horsemen buses. Makes you wonder if the prophets of the day had a vision with these assholes sitting on the bus. But we'll never find out. Alright, so the bus driver, or drivers, for the 83 British evacuees suspected of carrying the deadly coronavirus spent an entire 172-mile journey with them without wearing face masks. And it's been shown that these face masks are rather ineffective. Yet the men behind the wheel of the buses spent hours cooped up in the vehicles without protective clothing. Earlier this afternoon, and this is yesterday, they even greeted the suspected patients with handshakes at the RAF Bryce Norton in Oxfordshire before embarking on their long haul across the country to the northwest. This virus has infected around 10,000 people, and this number's higher now. So we won't even do the numbers. At this point, I don't think the numbers much matter, because according to Dr. Cottrell, once this virus made it to New York, and it did, and once this person had contact with the public, and they did, it was a wrap. It was a wrap, and I believe him. I do. So, the Department of Health said coach drivers who will not be quarantined, I said that, who will not be quarantined, Mail Online understands, would be wearing appropriate protective clothing. But images have emerged of them wearing none, despite being sat beside hazmat-wearing medical workers. Yeah. The medical workers got these hazmat suits, but not the coach drivers. And the irony of it being called horseman coaches is just something probably we should be paying attention to. Just, it's funny how the cosmos sends you messages. And probably one of these messages right here. A spokesman for horseman coaches said their staff had been reassured by government officials that they did not need to wear masks for the 180-mile journey because passengers had been quarantined for 8 days in China and only allowed on the flight because they were clear of any symptoms. And again, this virus is spread asymptomatically, meaning it will spread whether you show symptoms or not. So there's that. All right. Here's the update page on Zero Hedge. And I'm going to hit the bullet points here. There are currently 17,388 confirmed cases worldwide, according to the latest data out of China's CDC, and 362 global fatalities. And of course, we cannot believe any of the numbers that were given by China or any other government. 2 confirmed cases have been reported in San Benito County in Northern California, including the first death outside from China reported in the Philippines. China's central bank will pump 150 billion yuan into the markets. So, let's go down here. The potential coronavirus infection count in New York City has risen to 3. That is how many people are currently being tested for this virus. According to the health department cited by ABC, the health department reports the patient had been hospitalized in New York, Presbyterian, Queens, and is in stable condition. I would like to remind everyone that they treated somebody they thought were out of the woods, and the very next day they died. As we reported yesterday, late on Saturday, a person under 40 years old who had spent time in mainland China arrived in the city on Thursday and called 911 on Friday after feeling symptoms. Then, early on Sunday, a 60-year-old who displayed fever symptoms and shortness of breath was hospitalized at Flushing Hospital Medical Center. Officials say the patient being tested for coronavirus in New York did everything right, and if that patient tests positive, the health department is ready to react. And everything has been done in a reactionary way. My economics and business law professor, we went over styles of management, and one of the two is reaction versus proactive. Proactive versus reactive. And reactive is never a good way to go. But the symptoms were fever, cough, and runny nose. Like that simple. And they did the right thing for everybody else by coming in and getting care, said NYC Health Commissioner. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. We'll just leave it at NYC Health Commissioner, who added that an ambulance brought the patient to Bellevue Hospital. Now, according to Dr. Cottrell, he says it's too late. That this thing cannot be contained because of its ability to spread so quickly. And people keep downplaying the death toll, but the incubation time would suggest that probably they're celebrating prematurely. So I thought I'd bring you this update. It's getting really bad, and if you don't have your ducks in order, you probably have only about 10 days left to do so, meaning you need to have your guns ready, your ammo, your food, your water purification methods, all that stuff in line before the crackdowns come. I hope everyone has a good day, and if I see anything else, I'll talk about it. But until next time, kill the state, live free.